Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest principles you must understand in life is this: you cannot give what you do not have. Many of us spend our lives pouring into others, serving, giving, working tirelessly, yet we neglect the most important vessel in the process, ourselves. How can you give wisdom when you have not pursued knowledge? How can you give love when you have not taken the time to love yourself? How can you lead when you have not first mastered the discipline of personal growth? It is a dangerous thing to attempt to offer something you have not cultivated. We see it all the time. Leaders who are empty but still trying to lead. Parents who are drained but still trying to raise children. Individuals who are frustrated but still trying to keep up with life's demands. The result? Burnout, frustration, broken relationships, and worst of all, an unfulfilled life. Life demands that you first become before you can give. You cannot pour from an empty cup. If you neglect to fill yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, eventually you will have nothing left to offer. This is why some people feel used, exhausted, and unappreciated. It is not always that others are taking advantage of you. Sometimes it is because you have not taken the responsibility to replenish yourself. Let me ask you a question. What have you been giving to others that you have not first given to yourself? Many people are chasing success, trying to prove themselves, trying to be there for everyone else, yet they have neglected the very thing that determines their effectiveness, their own well-being. You cannot help others find direction if you are lost. You cannot build others up if you are broken. You cannot lead effectively if you have not first learned to lead yourself. You see, life has a principle, and that principle is simple. You can only produce what you have cultivated. If you plant an orange tree, you cannot expect to harvest apples. If you plant wisdom, you will produce wise decisions. If you plant discipline, you will reap a life of excellence. But if you neglect yourself, if you fail to invest in your growth, you will have nothing substantial to offer when the time comes to give. The world we live in places so many demands on us. Your job demands your time. Your family demands your energy. Your community demands your service. But who is demanding that you take care of you? Who is making sure that you are whole, strong, and well-equipped? That responsibility is yours. Too many people live their lives trying to impress others, while internally they are struggling. They give smiles to the world, but cry in private. They encourage others, but have no encouragement for themselves. They push people toward their dreams, but have abandoned their own. If this is you, it is time to stop. You cannot continue to deplete yourself and expect to live a fulfilling life. You were not created to merely survive, you were created to thrive. This is why personal growth is not an option, it is a necessity. Feed your mind. Read books. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to become better. Take care of your body. Prioritize your peace. Learn to rest. Stop neglecting yourself for the sake of pleasing others, because at the end of the day, if you fall apart, everything you have been trying to hold together will fall apart with you. Think about this. If you were to lose everything today, what would remain? Not your job, not your material possessions, only you. So why not invest in the one thing that will always be with you, yourself? If you develop your mind, nobody can take your wisdom. If you develop your character, nobody can steal your integrity. If you develop your skills, you will always have a place in the world. I want to challenge you today to shift your mindset. Stop seeing self-investment as selfishness. It is not selfish to grow. It is not selfish to take care of yourself. It is not selfish to prioritize your well-being. In fact, it is the most responsible thing you can do. Because when you are strong, everyone connected to you benefits. When you are healthy, your family thrives. When you are wise, your decisions improve. But if you are empty, what will you have to offer? So today, make a decision. Refuse to live on empty. Fill yourself first, so that what overflows from your life can be a blessing to others. Because when you become the best version of yourself, the world around you will change. You cannot give what you do not have. So make sure you have what the world needs. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest misconceptions in life is that taking care of yourself is selfish. But I want to challenge that mindset today, because it is not selfishness, it is stewardship. When you neglect yourself, you are not being humble, you are being irresponsible. Your life, your mind, your body, your purpose, these are all gifts that God has given you, and He expects you to manage them well. There are many people who spend their entire lives trying to please others, trying to meet the expectations of family, friends, and society, all while slowly losing themselves. They say yes to everyone, but never say yes to themselves. They serve in every capacity except the one that truly matters, the responsibility of their own well-being. And over time, they become drained, frustrated, and resentful, not because life is unfair, but because they have failed to prioritize what matters most. You must understand that you cannot fulfill your purpose if you are running on empty. Life demands energy, and if you do not take the time to refuel, eventually you will break down. This is why many people feel overwhelmed and exhausted, not because life is too hard, but because they have not learned the discipline of self-care. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you truly invested in yourself? Not for your job, not for your family, not for your responsibilities, but for you. When was the last time you gave yourself permission to grow, to rest, to breathe? Some people think that putting themselves first is an act of arrogance. But let me tell you something. You cannot give the world your best if you are not at your best. Imagine a farmer who has a field. Every season he works tirelessly, planting, harvesting, and providing for others. But what if, in his effort to feed everyone else, he forgets to take care of the soil? What if he never waters it, never replenishes it, never gives it time to rest? Eventually that field will become dry, barren, and unproductive. That is what happens to many of us. We keep giving, working, serving, but never taking time to nourish ourselves. And as a result, we become empty, tired, and ineffective. There is nothing noble about neglecting yourself. You were not created to live a life of exhaustion. You were created to thrive, to produce, to impact the world. But you cannot do that if you are constantly running on fumes. Think about this. Even Jesus, the greatest leader, took time to rest. He would withdraw from the crowds, go up to the mountains, and be alone. Why? Because he understood that his assignment required strength, and strength comes from intentional self-care. If the Son of God needed moments of solitude and restoration, what makes you think you don't? Many people have been taught that taking care of themselves is a sign of weakness. But I want you to hear me clearly today. Taking care of yourself is wisdom, not weakness. It is not a lack of love for others. It is an act of love for yourself. Because when you are strong, you can give more. When you are whole, you can love better. When you are at peace, you can serve effectively. Some of you have been living life as if you are a machine. Always working, always giving, always saying yes. But machines need maintenance. If you drive a car and never stop to change the oil, never take it for service, what will happen? Eventually it will break down. And when it breaks down, it is no longer useful, not because it wasn't valuable, but because it wasn't maintained. Are you maintaining yourself? It is time to stop feeling guilty for prioritizing your well-being. Stop apologizing for needing rest. Stop feeling bad for saying no to things that drain you. It is not selfish, it is stewardship. Because if you lose yourself, you will have nothing left to give. Your body needs care, your mind needs nourishment, your spirit needs peace, your purpose needs clarity, and none of these things will happen unless you become intentional about you. I challenge you today, make a decision to value yourself. Your future depends on it. Your destiny depends on it. The people who rely on you need you at your best. And the only way to be at your best is to take care of yourself first. Taking care of yourself is not selfishness. It is the foundation for everything else in your life. There is a simple but profound truth that many people fail to understand. The greatest investment you will ever make is not in stocks, not in property, not in business. It is in yourself. People spend years working hard to accumulate wealth, chasing success, trying to build empires, but they forget that none of those things can truly grow beyond the capacity of the person managing them. You can have $1 million opportunity in front of you, but if you lack the wisdom to manage it, you will lose it. You can receive a great promotion, but if you have not developed yourself, you will crumble under the weight of the responsibility. Everything in your life rises and falls based on how much you have invested in you. The problem with many people is that they spend more time working on things than they do working on themselves. They put energy into building careers but never develop their minds. They work hard to impress others but never take the time to improve their character. They give their strength to companies and organizations, but never invest in their own personal growth. And at the end of the day, they wonder why they feel empty, unfulfilled, and stuck in the same place year after year. Listen carefully. Your value in life is determined by what you have cultivated within you. A tree is only valuable because of the fruit it produces. A diamond is only precious because of the process it has gone through. And your life will only be as valuable as what you have deposited into yourself. This is why you must make self-investment a priority. Your future depends on what you do today. If you refuse to grow, if you refuse to learn, if you refuse to stretch yourself, you will remain where you are. The world is changing every day. Opportunities are increasing, but only those who have prepared themselves will be able to take advantage of them. Think about this. If you were to lose everything today, your job, your business, your possessions, what would remain? The only thing that can never be taken from you is what you have built inside of you. Your knowledge, your skills, your wisdom. These are the things that will sustain you when everything else fails. This is why wealthy people can lose everything and rebuild, while others struggle, even when given great opportunities. It is not what you have that makes you successful. It is who you have become. Too many people wait for life to hand them opportunities before they prepare. But life does not work that way. You don't prepare when the opportunity comes. You prepare before it comes. You don't wait until you are in a leadership position to develop leadership skills. You don't wait until you have money to learn financial management. You don't wait until you are in trouble to start developing wisdom. You must invest in yourself now so that when the moment comes, you are ready. You must take personal responsibility for your growth. No one else is going to do it for you. Your employer is not responsible for your development. Your family is not responsible for your wisdom. Your friends are not responsible for your success. You are. If you want to grow, you must decide to invest in books, in mentorship, in learning, in stretching your mind beyond your comfort zone. There is no such thing as standing still in life. You are either moving forward or you are falling behind. And the difference between those who progress and those who remain stagnant is simple: self-investment. Some of you have been waiting for someone to give you permission to grow. But let me tell you something, you don't need permission to become better. You don't need approval to develop yourself. The moment you decide to invest in yourself is the moment your life will begin to change. So the question is, what are you doing daily to grow? Are you reading? Are you learning new skills? Are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge you? Are you disciplining yourself to become better? If the answer is no, then you are limiting your own potential. Your success is not determined by luck. It is not determined by chance. It is determined by preparation. And preparation comes from intentional self-investment. I challenge you today, make a decision to prioritize your growth. Because when you become better, everything around you gets better. Your relationships improve, your finances increase, your opportunities expand, but it all begins with you. Invest in yourself, because you are the greatest asset you will ever have. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a truth about life that many people fail to recognize. Your growth determines the quality of everything around you. If you want to improve your life, you don't start by changing your job, your environment, or the people around you. You start by changing yourself. Too many people spend their lives blaming circumstances, waiting for better opportunities, hoping that something external will change, but they never take responsibility for the one thing they have control over, their own growth. Everything in your life is a reflection of what you have developed within yourself. Your relationships, your finances, your career, your influence. Everything is a product of your personal growth. You cannot have a thriving business if you do not have a mindset that understands how to sustain success. You cannot build strong relationships if you have not developed emotional intelligence. You cannot lead effectively if you have not grown in wisdom. The mistake most people make is believing that external success will change them. They think, if I had more money, I would be more disciplined. No. If you are not disciplined with a small income, you will not be disciplined with a large one. They say, if I had a leadership position, I would become a better leader. No. If you are not developing leadership where you are now, you will not suddenly become a great leader when given a title. Growth always comes before success. The reason why some people achieve great things is not because they are lucky, it is because they have grown into the person who is capable of handling great things. Success is not something you pursue, it is something you attract by becoming the person who is ready for it. Imagine two farmers given the same land. One farmer prepares the soil, removes the weeds, and nurtures it daily. The other farmer does nothing, expecting the land to produce on its own. When the harvest season comes, the first farmer reaps a great harvest, while the second farmer has nothing but weeds. The land was never the problem, it was how each farmer cultivated it. Your life is the same way. Two people can be given the same opportunities, the same time, the same resources, but one will succeed while the other struggles. Not because one was luckier than the other, but because one invested in personal growth while the other remained stagnant. Some of you are waiting for your life to change, but let me tell you something, your life will not change until you do. If you want better relationships, you must become a better communicator. If you want financial freedom, you must grow in financial wisdom. If you want to achieve great things, you must develop the discipline, mindset, and work ethic to sustain them. Life does not give you what you want. It gives you what you have prepared for. If you do not grow, you will miss opportunities because you will not be ready for them. If you do not develop your skills, you will remain stuck, watching others advance while you wonder why things are not working for you. Growth is a choice. It does not happen automatically. It happens when you decide that you will no longer live at the same level, when you refuse to remain the same person year after year. The moment you commit to growth, your entire life begins to shift. Your relationships improve because you have grown in understanding. Your career advances because you have developed competence. Your confidence increases because you know you are becoming the best version of yourself. The greatest people in the world, leaders, innovators, pioneers, they did not wait for life to make them great. They grew into greatness. They read, they studied, they practiced, they failed and learned. They stretched themselves beyond their comfort zones. And because they grew, everything around them grew as well. So I ask you today, are you growing or are you waiting? Are you developing yourself, or are you hoping that life will somehow get better on its own? The answer to your future is in your hands. Your next level is not in someone else's control. It is in your control, and the only way to reach it is through growth. Make the decision today to invest in yourself, to stretch beyond your limits, to develop the skills, wisdom, and discipline required for the life you desire. Because when you grow, everything connected to you will grow as well. One of the most important lessons you must learn in life is this: not everything deserves your yes. And if you keep saying yes to things that do not serve your growth, your peace, or your purpose, you will find yourself drained, frustrated, and far from where you are meant to be. Many people struggle with this because they have been conditioned to believe that saying no is rude, selfish, or unkind. But let me tell you something. Your destiny depends on your ability to say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters. The difference between successful people and those who never reach their potential is not talent, not opportunity, not luck. It is focus. And focus requires the discipline to reject anything that pulls you away from your purpose. Look at your life today. How much of your time is spent on things that do not add value to your future? How often do you find yourself involved in conversations, commitments, and activities that drain you instead of building you? Too many people waste their energy on things that do not align with where they are going. They say yes to every request, yes to every obligation, yes to every invitation, until they have no time left for the things that truly. You must understand that your time is your most valuable asset. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. And every moment you give to something unimportant is a moment you will never get back. That is why you must be intentional about where you invest your time, energy, and focus. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. They will say, "You've changed. You don't have time for us anymore." Or, "You think you're better than us." But let me tell you the truth, growth requires change. And if the people around you do not understand your need to prioritize your future, then they are not aligned with where you are going. Look at the greatest achievers in history, leaders, visionaries, pioneers. They all had one thing in common. They learned to say no. They said no to distractions so they could focus on their dreams. They said no to meaningless conversations so they could invest in wisdom. They said no to unhealthy habits so they could maintain their strength. Even Jesus, the greatest leader who ever walked this earth, knew when to say no. He loved people, he healed people, he served people, but he never allowed people's demands to control his mission. He withdrew when he needed rest. He stayed focused on his assignment. He was not afraid to say no when something did not align with his purpose. If he had said yes to everything, he would have been too exhausted to fulfill his destiny. You must ask yourself, what do I need to say no to? Are there relationships that are draining you? Are there commitments that are keeping you from your goals? Are there habits that are stealing your time? It is not enough to be busy, you must be productive. And productivity comes from knowing what deserves your yes and what requires your no. There will always be more requests, more invitations, more distractions. But you must decide, do you want to please people or do you want to fulfill your purpose? Because you cannot do both. If you live your life trying to be available for everyone, you will end up empty, exhausted, and unfulfilled. But if you choose to focus on what truly matters, you will build a life of meaning, impact, and success. Make the decision today to be intentional with your time. Protect your peace. Guard your energy. Learn to say no to anything that does not align with your growth, because every yes to the wrong thing is a no to something that truly matters. Choose wisely, because your future depends on it. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest mistakes you can make in life is relying on others to validate your worth. Too many people live their lives waiting for approval, waiting for someone to tell them they are good enough, smart enough, talented enough. They seek validation from family, friends, social media, and society, never realizing that as long as their confidence is tied to other people's opinions, they will never be truly free. The truth is, Your value is not determined by what others think of you. Your worth does not come from their praise, and it is not diminished by their criticism. It does not rise when they approve of you, and it does not fall when they reject you. Your value is determined by one thing: who you were created to be. And if you do not recognize your own worth, the world will never fully appreciate what you have to offer. Many people spend their entire lives trying to fit into other people's expectations. They dress a certain way, speak a certain way, live a certain way, not because it is who they are, but because they are afraid of being misunderstood, judged, or rejected. They are prisoners of opinion, always adjusting themselves to please others, never realizing that no matter what you do, someone will always have something to say. If you succeed, they will say you think you are better than them. If you fail, they will say you were never good enough. If you stay the same, they will say you are wasting your potential. If you change, they will say you have become different. So why live your life based on opinions that will never be satisfied? You must come to a place where you understand that you do not need validation from anyone to walk in your purpose. You do not need approval to be great. You do not need permission to rise. Everything you need to become who you were meant to be is already inside of you. And the moment you stop looking for others to approve of you is the moment you will step into the fullness of your potential. Think about the greatest leaders, innovators, and pioneers in history. They were all criticized. They were misunderstood. They were mocked, rejected, and even ridiculed. But do you know why they changed the world? Because they refused to let the voices of others define them. They knew who they were, they knew what they carried, and they understood that true confidence comes from within. Some of you have been holding back because you're afraid of what people will think. You have dreams, but you're afraid to pursue them because someone might disapprove. You have ideas, but you hesitate to share them because someone might criticize you. You are waiting for validation before you take the next step, never realizing that waiting for approval is the fastest way to delay your destiny. If you are always looking for permission to be who you were created to be, you will never move forward. If you are constantly seeking acceptance, you will never break free. The only way to truly live is to stand in the confidence of knowing that your worth is already established. You were created with purpose, you were designed with greatness, and the only validation you need is the one that comes from within. It is time to stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop dimming your light because others cannot handle your brightness. Stop lowering yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to fulfill a purpose, to make an impact, to leave a legacy. And if that means walking alone at times, then so be it. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will support your vision, but that is okay, because the right people will. The ones who truly see you, who truly value you, will recognize your worth whether the crowd approves or not. And those are the voices that matter. Make a decision today to walk boldly in who you are. Stop waiting for validation. Stop seeking approval. Know your worth and never let anyone make you question it. Your life is your responsibility. No one else will prioritize you if you do not prioritize yourself. No one else will invest in you if you do not first invest in yourself. No one else will guard your time, your energy, or your purpose if you do not take control of them. You were not created to live in the shadows of others' expectations. You were not designed to waste your time on things that do not serve your growth. And you certainly were not meant to live your life seeking approval from those who do not understand your value. Make yourself your first priority. Grow daily. Protect your focus. Set boundaries. Walk boldly in your worth. Because when you become the best version of yourself, you will not only transform your own life, you will inspire others to do the same. I encourage you today, step into your greatness. Own your journey. Walk in confidence. Your future is waiting, and the world needs the best version of you. Good luck and thank you.